Okay, grade nines, welcome to the homework demo. In previous lessons, I've given you sort of fake questions that resemble the textbook questions. I figured it was June, and I thought I would just help you out. So I'm actually going to do some of your homework, model it for you, okay? I don't want to say doing it for you. Sounds like I'm doing the work, but I will model some questions for you, okay? So let's start with, this is page 357. I assigned questions 5 and 6. I assigned more than that, but I'm focused on this video. Let's just pick a random one here. Let's go with purple. Okay, let's go with, let's try decimal. Okay, so let's do 5C. All right. Now, you got 8.6 plus x is greater than negative 5.2. And look at that, I already forgot my little x here. Okay, so this is positive. What's the opposite of positive is negative 8.6. You know, nothing earth-shattering has changed here, grade nines. In other words, you're supposed to, what are you supposed to do? Isolate. Isolate what? Isolate the variable, okay? So we're isolating the variable. So that goes away, and we're left with x is greater than. And what does this add up to? This is one of the most important things you need for grade 10 is not to get tripped up here. We've got negative 5.2 plus a negative 8.6, or you could say subtract a positive, but nevertheless, this is going to become negative 13.8, okay? Let me do another one. Yeah, let's do D, okay? So here's 5D. Okay, 100 is less than x plus 65, okay? Now, again, guys, you can wait for me to give you the answer, or at some points, it's up to you. You can pause the video, do the question yourself, and then see whether you and I agree on the answer. Let's subtract 65 from both sides, okay? All right, so that goes away, as it should, and now 100 minus 65 is 35. Now, remember what I told you about inequalities are reversible? I've always struggled with the number coming before the variable. So I prefer, this is me, this is just Mr. Smith. You may have a math teacher next year or in future years that say it really doesn't matter and your teacher shouldn't care. Well, my brain works a certain way. So I prefer to read this as x must be greater than or equal to negative or positive 35. Okay, we're just reversing the positions. That has nothing to do with the rule about multiplying and dividing both sides by negative. I'm simply rewording this. That's all I'm doing. 35 is less than or equal to x. That's the same as saying x must be greater than or equal to 35. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So I'm going to focus on question 6 here. Why don't we do question C? So 6C. So we got 3.1y is supposed to be less than or equal to negative 12.4. Okay, well, not a whole lot different to start out with. We're going to divide both sides by positive 3.1, so we don't need our special exception rule here. We're dividing both sides by a positive. That doesn't change. This left side was already positive. It's going to remain positive, so we don't need our special rule, right? It's only when you fundamentally change the nature of the signage from left and on the left side and the right side that you need to reverse. We'll just keep the sign the same because we divided both sides by a positive 3.1. And negative divided by a positive is a negative. And look, I know that 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 4.4 divided by 0.1 is 4. So this is 0.4, or 4. So if you want me to check that, that should mean 3 times a negative 4 is what? If you want me to check it and you doubt me, 4, 12, and there's one decimal place, okay? And then the answer is negative. Okay, so that's the answer for that one. Now, let's contrast that with D, okay? Let's figure out what's going on with D here. Okay, look what happens with D. So fundamentally speaking, because of the coefficient itself is negative. If we end up solving for a positive y, we have reversed, right? The goal is to isolate a positive one variable. We will have reversed the fundamental nature, the signage of this side, right? Let me finish writing this out. Negative 10. So if our goal is to isolate, right? I'm just going to abbreviate that. If our goal is to isolate and the negative coefficient must flip into a positive, that means we better compensate by flipping this sign. Okay? So I'm telling you in advance, I'm telling you right now, grade 9s, this question is going to involve our special exceptional rule. All right? Here's what that looks like. So I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 1.6. All right, so divide both sides by a negative 1.6. All right. Now, as soon as I've done that, this thing flips. It goes from less than to greater than. It just happens immediately. Don't do anything else until you flip this sign. I've divided again. I've divided or multiplied. In this case, I've divided. I've divided both sides by a negative, so I'm left with a positive y. So the left side, which fundamentally, because of the coefficient, started out as negative, has now flipped to a y. We flip to a sign. And what is 10 divided by 1.6? Oh, good grief. Well, I know the answer is positive. Oh, what's that going to be? That's going to be, let's see, 5. 5 times 1.6 is 8. 2, carry the 0, bring down the 0. So that's going to be 1, so 16, 4, and that's going to be 2, and that's going to be, bring down another 0. Okay, and so on and so on. This is going to be 32, 8. So I think this is going to be 5.125. 5.12. You can check my division on that. That seems to be right. Okay? So this is one of the rules. And by the way, you can guess this in advance. Because look, I see a negative coefficient, boom. This one needs the special rule. Okay? I know I'm going to be dividing both sides by a negative 2. Okay? I know I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 2. I can anticipate. This one does not. This one does not need the special rule. In this case, I'll be dividing both sides by a positive 6. I don't need to flip the sign. The left side started out positive. It'll remain positive. So I don't need to reverse the sign. I don't need to reverse the sign. I need to reverse the sign here, and I need to reverse the sign here. Okay? All right, that's it. I'll keep going with some more sample homework demo questions. All right, take care, grade 9s.